In this video, we're going to suppose that theta is an angle in standard position whose terminal side intersects the unit circle at the point -11/61, -60/61. We want to use that information to find the exact value of three things: secant theta, cotangent theta, and sine theta. So for this problem, we don't know what the angle is. We just know where the point is, where the angle, the terminal side, intersects the unit circle. And so what we're given is an x value and a y value. And that's important. The other important thing is that this intersects the unit circle at that point. And so since it's on the unit circle, sine theta is going to be the y value at that point, cosine theta would be the x value at that point, and tangent theta would be the y value over the x value at that point, or sine over cosine. So we can use the information that we've previously talked about on the unit circle that I just mentioned. There's something else we want to take into account of in this problem though, and it's written in blue on the right-hand side of the screen. We want to talk about our reciprocal identities. So specifically in this problem, we want to talk about what secant theta is equal to and what cotangent theta is equal to in terms of sine, cosine, and tangent. So secant theta is the same thing as 1 over cosine theta, and we already talked about cosine theta is the same thing as the x value. And so the x value for this particular problem is -11/61. So solving our first problem, secant theta is equal to 1 over cosine theta. And like we said, since it's on the unit circle, cosine theta is just the x value, so that's going to be 1 over -11/61. And then of course 1 divided by that, we could rewrite 1 as 1 over 1 if we wanted to, and that gives us a fraction divided by a fraction. So to do that, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator, and we get -61/11. And so that's the value for the secant theta of this angle that we have right here. So now let's do the same thing with cotangent theta. This time we're going to use the second thing I started in green. Cotangent theta is the same thing as 1 over tangent theta, if you want to think of it that way. And 1 over tangent theta is the same thing as cosine over sine theta. So however you want to look at that is really all the same thing. You just want to be sure you memorize it somehow and you're able to, kind of, create the other connections based off of your one connection. So what I'm specifically referring to is cotangent theta is cosine theta, which we know to be the x value since this is on the unit circle, divided by sine theta, which we know to be the y value, again, since this is on the unit circle. And so putting this information into this particular problem, cotangent theta is cosine, the x value is -11/61, divided by our sine theta, which is the y value, -60/61. And again, we have a fraction divided by a fraction, so we're just going to multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator, so -11/61 multiplied by -61/60. The 61s are going to cross out on top and bottom, and also the two negatives are going to multiply, giving us a positive, and we'll be left with +11/60. So that's our value for cotangent theta. Now we want to find the value for sine theta, and comparatively it's going to be easier than the last two because we know that sine theta, if it's on the unit circle, a point on the unit circle, is just going to be our y value. And so you can see the y value is just -60/61, and that's our answer. No special things we have to do there. And so in general, this is how you would find the sine, cosine, tangent, the secant, cosecant, or cotangent of something on the unit circle. If it's a point on the unit circle, I would personally memorize that cosine is x and sine is y, tangent is y over x, but you kind of have some flexibility about how you memorize cotangent. You can either use the, what I used here was the quotient identity. You could also use the reciprocal identity and say cotangent theta is the same thing as 1 over tangent, and then kind of relate it the same way that I did with secant and cosecant. But you want to be able to connect all of these things some kind of way in your mind, memorize all of them if you need to, or just memorize some of them, and then connect them using our various identities and various formulas.